Right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, for all of you that are watching on YouTube. We are currently doing a sub coaching where we're going to help this their Rumble player by analyzing his gameplay. Today's guest is Louvre92. He gave us some background information. He's Platinum 2. He used to be around D3 in the old ELO before reset. He started playing again 1 month ago after almost a year-long break. He plays only Rumble. Wise man. I've heard that it's a good idea to one-trigger champion to high elo, this is his words, and then apply the general learned game concepts to learn other champs, so that's my goal. Wonderful. He says, I played on and off over the past years. I never played for a long time streak, but I'm wanting to take it seriously now. That's fantastic. He mentioned that his biggest problem is when he makes a mistake and falls behind, he feeds his ass off. Otherwise, I feel I do well. So let's see if this game is going to signify that. The mid lane matchup is quite good for him. He's playing Rumble into GP, which is something that is quite decent for Rumble because he's not in a position where he's going to get harassed too hard. This is quite a long game, 40 minutes. Very wise choice to take a very long game because that's what I would do if I got to this. Yeah. So let's begin. Level 1. Sometimes I see Rumble players also starting W because they don't want to hard push. E is also common start. We have Comet, but against GP, like GP most of the time wins pretty hard. But we see that Mordekaiser, it looks like he wants to go into mid lane, and then they want to put GP into the Darius. So already at Platinum 2, it seems like the enemy is doing some vicious tactics. Ward here, kind of a weird ward. It's not the most efficient one, but I guess they just want to spot if Kindred does Raptor, but he doesn't need to. This Rek'Sai is trolling. That's a flash ignite. Could have just ignited earlier. Obviously a mistake. We're going to lower the sound a little bit. First blood. Leona should just ignite it earlier. Maybe Rek'Sai needed a flash right away. Okay, so this ward cost him 400 Gs. Beautiful. And also his flash. For Rek'Sai to lose flash this early, it's quite a disaster. But we're going to focus on our boy here in this jump suit. Starts Q. Into Mordekaiser. There's not a matchup I see often in mid lane, but I think definitely Rumble has some chances. Rumble can stay on distance. We're going to turn off directed camera, manual camera, thank you very much. My thing here is Mordekaiser is just putting himself at risk. You're not losing anything by doing this. He's not denying you. The wave is in a better position for you. You got level 2 first because of Rek'Sai kill. This is completely fine. I would play it the same way. Maybe here on level 2 you can pressure a bit harder because here you have an opportunity where you're level 2 and he's not. He needs to kill one more melee creep, and here after these range creeps maybe you can pressure a little bit more and walk up, especially because he queued you. He queued you and he has full tank runes for some reason. What on earth are these runes? He has 4 AP. That's pretty odd. Nevertheless, we don't focus on that. Here, I think you should walk up a bit more. You have an advantage. Maybe you're surprised that you got level 2 first, but you got Rek'Sai XP. Here, until this melee dies, you can definitely look to deny him. This is a good time for you to pressure all in. He also used Q, so 5-second cooldown. This is something that you can pay attention to always. In any matchup is always pay attention to cooldowns, because especially with something like Rumble, you don't take minion aggro when you walk after them with your flame spitzer, and that's what makes Rumble so powerful in lane. You can always chase after people. This is definitely a good time for you to pressure up. The way you played the first wave was good. You didn't tank any Qs. You harassed him with your Q. Was wonderful. You should definitely push him out here. You can even look to all in him here and push him out. You have level 2, you're going to win here, especially with the Q on cooldown. Because at the same time, you want to contest the push now. You don't want him to get the push, and you want to always kind of match it. The wave is in a good position here after what he did on level 1. You want to keep the wave in this position. So here we are happy with this. This is good. You can see how OP Rumble is. Like, you don't get minion aggro when you trade with him. And if he autos that he needs to do in order to proc his passive right, then he gets the minion aggro. And right now you're going to slowly slow push into him, because this is your wave is slow pushing now. But this is winning. So Rek'Sai jungle pathing is very hard to predict because he's doing something that no one else does, is a full bottom side clear into river. So this is very strange. He spots Kindred's position, and with the ward he had early on Raptor, he's looking to steal them away. But this is close to impossible to predict, and you haven't had a timer yet to ward. Kindred's movement as well is not helping you in any way, but they're pressuring GP because this wave is frozen and he needs to push this in. So Rek'Sai is yeah, this is not that great of Rek'Sai. But this also means that you're pressured. So yeah, maybe if Rek'Sai is a bit more patient, they can look to punish you. I think Rek'Sai is just afraid of his red getting stolen away. Kindred is trapping, but you know Rek'Sai's position now, so you can look to go aggressive here again. Here, I don't think you should use E that much on creeps, especially when he's walking up that much. When you are in an advantageous position, especially with Rumble, you should look to trade as much as possible. Here already you won the push, there's no reason for you to shove the wave so hard. You can keep Q and always look to burn Mordekaiser as much as possible. Because the way you win this is through poke. You need to poke Mordekaiser, and the more and more you poke him, the better it is. Because here you're Eing for no reason, you're overheating for no reason, you Q'd for no reason. You could easily push him away and make him lose a CS or two. And potentially even harass him. Worst players are going to take a lot of damage there. Mordekaiser is looking to freeze, he's in no shape to fight. This guy has no flash, so he's going to most likely die. Very nice. This is good. Beautiful. Very nice. Not too shabby. But still, think about those laws of... you need to be able to develop a skill set that works against the best of the best, right? This might... obviously, the trade that I mentioned before has very little to do with this, and you pushing the wave as fast has nothing to do with this. Because even if you don't use spells on the creeps, your wave position is going to be the same. If you push them away here, and let's say, like, your position should be here. Right now, your position should be here. I'm trying to find EpiPen. Where is EpiPen? I'm going to change it to screen capture instead. It was because a fight was breaking out on the top side of the jungle. Oh, there's a charity stream for Australia Wildfire Relief on Shark's Twitch. People donate 1v1 forgiven. Oh shit, I should do that. I should definitely do that. But let's just finish up this game first. Okay, let's continue. I don't think I'm gonna use EpiPen, who cares? Not for now. It's okay, this is fine. Obviously this is a good outcome, nothing to complain about. Think about how you use your spells on the wave. Every time you use your spells on the wave, it means you're exposing yourself. Are you doing it for a reason? Are you paying the right price? Are you gaining push? Think of it as a resource. Your cooldowns are a resource. The more and more you get to use them, the better, right? So keeping them constantly is not a good thing. But when you're using your spells, remind yourself that you are exposing yourself to a potential bad trade or something like this. Every time you press Q, do it for a reason. Do you need to push in this moment in time? Do you need to rush? The way you control the wave, is there a reason for it? In this position, you could have easily stepped up all the way here. Or I'm zooming in. You could have stepped here while the wave was here because you were level 4 and you were against a Mordekaiser that was level 3. He was low HP. You could have pressured and you could have let the wave slow push because the wave position wouldn't matter if you E'd and W'd or Q'd the minion. You could have gained a bit more there. But of course they died, so we move on. So now Rek'Sai Flash is going to go up. You kept TP, which is fine. Here the same thing. You can look to Q. You can look to play on the space here. You are a cannon and 3 range creeps into your wave, so you can keep the freeze if that's your intention. You can keep the freeze already only with the cannon creep. So you can look here. You should look to Q him and look to play on movement. And then of course use W to dodge the E, because you don't want to get pulled into those creeps, and always be careful about not auto-attacking so you don't get mid-lane aggro. This worked all the same. So here, be careful how you use your E, because once again you overheat. Your E here was quite pointless. Here you're Eing for a creep and it puts you right on the overheat range. So this E put you over up to 80, you're overheated, and this gives Mordekaiser the time to walk up here. because you want to punish him as hard as possible for him to push in the wave. Right now, Mordekaiser is in a position where if he doesn't get this wave into the turret, he's always going to be exposed by Kindred. So maybe people at this rank won't think about that, but the way you can think about it is, if you maintain the wave in this position, then you will win. How do you maintain the wave in that position? You make sure you don't overheat, and every time he walks up, you make sure that you burn him. You burn him good. Here that you're overheating gives him time to Q for free. When you're overheated, you CC'd right, and this is not the greatest trade. Level 5 into 4, you get E'd, and the wave is too small now. This is the best thing he could hope for. You're in a really winning position here. He has no item. Your boots, his boots into Ruby Crystal and Amplifying Tome. You could have snowballed this much harder and made sure that he can never leave the lane. He would get denied. He would get burned on every CS, and then you move on. So you just have to think about how you use your Q. Make sure you don't get overheated like you did when you use E. Maintain yourself in that 90 range. It's gotten a lot easier ever since the harpoon only burns 10 heat. In the past it was 20 because you were forced to use it twice, and it would be much better. You would deny him so much here. Morde would have to stay in lane. Now it's slow pushing. Mordekaiser is deciding to roam. It's kind of ridiculous that he's doing so, but maybe he's just looking for a counter gank. Kindred is committing. Maybe it could be good. But of course you have TP, so in this position it's just better for you to stay and push. You push, and then he'll lose creeps. And then important that you hover into this bush in case Mordekaiser comes back. Maybe you can catch him and burn him a little bit and slow him down to make sure that he doesn't take these creeps, because now he's missing, right? So he's roaming, he's counter ganking, I guess, but you have TP. No problem at all. But you could have punished a lot more. He's going for crab. Maybe you can steal it away. You don't. Cool, but he loses a full wave, which is like half a kill almost. So all good. Think about how you use your Q, because here, once again, you Q'd and you accomplished very little with it. You could have looked to Q him and chase after him a little bit and burn him. That's how you have to just play this matchup. You look to poke. This is good, especially when he uses E. The E cooldown, whenever he uses E, he's so exposed. 24 seconds of him just being a meat golem. Another thing that I didn't mention, when you went for your purchase here, you went Ruby Crystal, Amplifying Tome. You could consider buying boots here as well, because boots, like rushing Sorcerer Shoes in such a matchup is really key, because the only way he ever does anything to you is if he lands his E, right? If he lands his E, then you're always going to be victorious. Here, you have very little reason to take this defensive path. Right now you have the prio, you have spotted Mordekaiser, so you want to match him here. Mid prio means that you get to take the aggressive path. The aggressive path being through here in river. So never take this path, because if you took this path, maybe you can even save this ward. Right? Imagine you're here right now. This guy is too exposed. He still has no flash for 5 seconds. He would be in danger. You took the defensive path. You shouldn't do so. Always when you have the prio, the point is you're taking prio so you can take the aggressive path, and Morde takes the defensive path. You need to be first to every situation in river. So here is just another mistake, right? So against Morde, Sorcerer Shoes always, and then here you shouldn't take this defensive path. Take the aggressive path. You want to always walk into this Rek'Sai. So you pressure him off, because now he got away with murder, right? Got away with murder. He killed your pink, and the pink's family are gonna tell you like, this is how you treat your pink wards. So you let Mordekaiser push here. Nothing too fancy, whatever. He got to push because you chased after the boy in whatever. Kindred the bases. So right now there's nothing to do for you in river. Once again, you could have taken aggressive path because you have full vision here. You can always take this path. It's much better for you to sit in this bush. Oh my goodness, what a smurfer. Always plan ahead. Holy shit, he's going for it as well. The madman. The absolute madman is going for it. Janna is in position, Kindred is nowhere to be found, but you don't have flash from before. Let's see your little 1v1 here. Is it the right time to overheat? That's the question. Is it the right time to overheat? You E him. Okay. You barbecue. Okay. And then here you're walking forward. No reason to walk forward. You see the Morde. It's almost as if you are ignoring Mordekaiser here. Like, Mordekaiser is not gonna let you pass, right? He's never gonna let you pass. So here, you eat him, you walk up, you get the barbecue off, beautiful, and then afterwards, you know, this barbecue. Let's see your vision here, because how hard did you smurf? There's a ward here that just dies. Okay, so you barbecue, you get the Rek'Sai, very nice. He's low HP, and then you overheat. Keep in mind you have Comet, he has Conqueror. These are things that you need to get a feel for. I think if you don't W there, you Q and you keep a distance, it's much better. And then you wait for overheat to go down 10, and then you can W, and you will actually potentially survive this. And you could potentially also walk earlier, maybe 2 frames earlier to the left, because you will get giving Mordekaiser a good position here, right? You could keep him at a distance. Much easier. Also be careful about buying Oblivion Orb, because Mordekaiser, if he goes back now and buys Magic Resistance, he's going to be much stronger than you. So be careful about buying something like Oblivion Orb. This makes you very strong against Rek'Sai and everyone else, but now if Mordekaiser decides to buy MR into this matchup, then it's going to be difficult. But here, Mordekaiser just fucked up. Mordekaiser should have looked for base at the same time as you were dying. The wave was frozen for him. Instead, he's doing shenanigans. Okay, so Kindred is trolling. Obviously, Rumble is dead. She shouldn't go for Raptor. Janna's not showing on bottom. There's no reason for Kindred to do this. So he's just annoying her. We don't accept this mistake from Kindred. Very, very bad. Mordekaiser should base. Here he cannot push on time, and here he's going to lose a lot. So obviously here you just pressure him off. He's going to lose CS. He's pinging. Look at Mordekaiser pinging. Defend turret is telling... you just push this in, and then here you can decide if you want to hover into bottom. You can also take a plating. There's also a free plating here for you to take. You just remember that when you take such decisions, there's always going to be a choice. You want to be in game, you want to think about options. Do I hit the turret? Do I roam into bottom? Do I roam into top? Do I take jungle? Those are usually your options, right? Do I use this timer to put an efficient ward? I don't have wards. Nevertheless, you have a massive tempo swing here on Mordekaiser. He's in base. It's as if he died, right? As if he died for 8 seconds. You have a big tempo swing here. Let's see what you do. You're going into top. You're taking the long route around. If GP is not exposing himself to the turret here, it means that most of the time he based. Okay, this is a fine decision. This is not too bad. Here in a lot of cases, the way you snowball a situation where Mordekaiser fucked up like this is that you call your jungler and look for a punish when the wave is slow pushing. So usually the synergy between a jungler and a mid lane, obviously this is a solo queue game, but this is still a good teaching moment, is when you are in a position like this, is you can make the slow push, and then most of the time when a Mordekaiser is coming out, because you swept here, you cleared their vision, if Kindred is sitting here, it's very difficult for Morde to retake, right? And they need to call Rek'Sai. The other way is, you keep pushing the way you did, and then together you intercept once again because you had such a big tempo swing. Let's see here now when you pushed, what you do with it. Okay, the wave is even, the cannon, you pushed a bit too slow. You overheat, not sure why. You want to just keep yourself in that hotspot always. So right now you know you have safety onto top side. You have a ward here, you have a ward here, you need to stick to the top side. But usually with the melee champion, being as short range as you are, hugging a side and CSing at the same time usually doesn't make a difference if you get ganked by a Janna and a Rek'Sai like this. But you kept safe, you played it smart, you played it good. Here the decision from your bot lane should be that they should push bottom. Them face checking here is not going to help anyone. Most of the time the people face checking here are just going to die. So the way to recover mid lane here from a team perspective is that Janna, Leona, the moment Janna, Vayne, Leona need to push bottom. They need to push bottom, force a reaction from Janna, because right now she does nothing. And just because you have to give up because of them being here, Mordekaiser is pushing in. Mordekaiser is going to be first to river. This means that the enemy team is just spreading pressure better than your team. So here, let's see if Leona dies. It looks like Leona's going to die. She gets away. She emotes. This is fine. Okay, cool. No problem. We move on. She didn't go too far. Still a worthy point. GP ult gets used in a very poor manner. This fight, honestly, you have good odds here if your team sticks to the same side. So Darius usually wants to commit all the way. Because here Darius is just getting kited by GP. If Darius is walking up all the way to Mordor, then all is good. But yeah, Mordekaiser can do this, so that makes him a bit busted. What is going on here? What? What happened? What is going on? What is happening here? So here, if Darius is already in position to fight with Morden and Rek'Sai, is so much better. Because you need to start hitting him the moment he enters. He wants to ult the Kindred. That's his target. So if Darius was in position here, I know his wave is pretty shit, but that's the price you pay for doing Rift Herald at this point in time. Maybe a better move for Kindred would be to look to go into top side and then pressure GP first, because she starts Rift when GP has prio. Rek'Sai was exposed bottom side and Kindred cleared all of this jungle, so you know that Rek'Sai is bottom side 100%. Kindred's move should have been that she pressures GP first so Darius can walk, but Darius is not pushing. Darius wants to push if you want to do Rift. But here he starts Rift, GP gets exposed, Darius walks, he gets pressured off, you're giving up prio because Rek'Sai is pathing, you're giving up 6 creeps as well, so this is a big investment for both the top laner and the mid laner. And if this doesn't work, it's a disaster, right? It's a disaster on many accounts, because already now you're sacrificing a kill worth of gold. A kill worth of gold, that's a shit ton of money. Creeps are the good stuff, yeah? So let's take a look. So what happened, I think, was the interaction is that Kindred ulted in the Death Realm, and then the ult stayed in the Death Realm, and Kindred came out and just got popped. So here she ults, and then she's out of the Death Realm, and then boom, she gets queued. She's not under ult anymore. The mistake here is if you want to secure this Rift Herald, then you needed to commit all the way. So honestly here you can kill them all if Darius... yeah, you can kill them all regardless, I think. Rek'Sai has no flash. Rek'Sai has no flash. I think you guys can kill both. There's no need for Darius to flash. I think Darius can just kill this guy. And also he fucked up his ult. Kindred ult is in Death Realm. So this is a disaster. You guys sacrifice a lot of CS. Look at those creeps that died. Morde will TP onto mid. He's not going to lose too much. So gold wise, this is a disaster also. Enemy team got Rift Herald. Should I follow them to the Herald when they make a mistake like that to take my wave? Follow is good, I think. Follow is good. But then, you know, it's tricky because the mistake here is that Darius is not committing on Morde. He needs to just start hitting Mordekaiser. Another thing that I mentioned, in a situation where Mordekaiser buys magic resistance to counter your Oblivion Orb and your Sorcerer Shoes, what you can do is also you can switch Rumble into top. And if he buys MR, he's going to get stomped by Darius. So there's something to keep in mind, and I think this is maybe what he had in mind when he itemized Protobelt. A general rule of thumb is the counter to penetration, meaning lethality or spell penetration, is armor and MR. The counter to Void Staff and Last Whisper is having more damage. Because at that point it's too late to buy MR and armor. HP is also a pretty decent stat to buy against Void Staff and Last Whisper. It's just the value of armor and MR just goes down very, very low. And sometimes if you're playing an Ornn, sure, if enemy has Last Whisper, getting yourself to 300 armor, 400 armor also begins to make sense. Because then still, even if they reduce 35% of your armor, you still reach numbers like 200, and that's still crazy. So your bot lane is getting completely dominated, but that's not the purpose of this showing here. Mordekaiser managed. So basically, Mordekaiser's rune, Conqueror and everything, all these mistakes that we accounted for in the early game and your team mistakes, Mordekaiser and Rek'Sai are just playing together better. At this point in time, Mordekaiser is stronger than you. He has Conqueror, he finished one full item, he is just better right now. And also Rek'Sai is around mid lane perma, it's like they're duo queuing, right? Mr. AIDS and TTV Johnny Casual. Johnny Casual. That's pretty fucking hilarious. Okay, we continue. So your goal in the game now is still, the matchup doesn't change. You want to look to overheat a lot less, stop overheating, and then always on the queue. He's going to be able to push much faster than you. When he queues like this and he E's like this, you should look to burn him. I don't know what you're scared of. You have a habit of always being scared. Always think about his cooldowns. Burn him as much as possible. Make him burn his W cooldown. Keep burning him. He's Johnny Casual. Put him in a ring of fire. You know, just burn him up, you know. Because many times you are afraid. This is fine to overheat. Doesn't make that much of a difference. Mordekaiser's prio. Punish him for pushing. The same way I mentioned before, the moment you queue, he is using his spells like a resource. The moment he's using his spells on the wave, this is the time you want to punish. And you have the advantage that you need to look to do both. Ideally, you get to queue Mordekaiser and you get to queue the wave. At level 9, you one-shot the range creeps. You want to, you're going to play a game of catch. He needs to look to all in you with his E, meaning if he lands his E and he queues you and gets the move speed from his passive, he goes for you. If he doesn't land E, you're in a winning position. But you need to force that. You need to bait it. You need to play this dance back and forth in this matchup. You need to use the fact that you have boots and you will kite him, you know. So here, Kindred will die. Always keep the Rumble ult. No need to Rumble ult right away because, of course, he can put you in the realm. That's another rule of thumb when you play against Mordekaiser. You don't Rumble ult before he goes out into the realm because he is just going to, what's it called? Of course, ult you, and then your Rumble ult is no longer relevant. It's worth to consider. Okay. So this was fine, this was whatever. Darius TP, your bot lane is a disaster. So we're not going to consider that. We don't care about your bot lane. You're pushing on time, you're basing. Okay, what is your purchase? Liandry, good purchase. We like it. Mordekaiser is getting monster fed. His rune is beginning to scale and become better and better. This is good. Yeah, this is good. Good Rumble ult. Very nice. Kindred wants to kill steal, but you don't let him. Very nice. Your team swap, or they swap. This Darius is a genius. It's very good. This is I like this move. He's waiting for Vayne and Leona, but Leona is trolling. Leona needs to understand in this position, Moby Boots, he needs to rush here as soon as possible. Because she could have left. Like, why is she sniffing the creeps? Okay, Darius is charging in a bit too early. This is a premature. This is common among a lot of young men that are playing League of Legends. Premature ganking, but Kog'Maw is smoking good kush, so it works. Very nice. Okay, we move on. You can lane fine into the GP with Moby Boots. GP has Moby Boots for some reason. GP ult is on. GP ult for top wave, but doesn't matter. It doesn't do enough damage to clear this, so that's not so great. GP is running away. Leona is smurfing. Very nice. Let's see if the Moby Boots can save him. the carpet could have been a bit better, but it's fine. It's cool. We're just nitpicking at this point. So let's try to find the point in the game that is worthy of discussion. Still, for some reason, Darius is hiding in this bush. I didn't have vision. Sure, okay. That's cool, Louvre. Excuses. Okay, so this guy is gonna get dove. Rek'Sai is being a bit too afraid. He needs to just charge at him and go. And now maybe he dies because he's too late. Let's take a look at what you're doing. Okay, okay. So ideally, don't put yourself up against the wall. Remember that against Mordekaiser you can juke through him. So here, take a look at what you did. Your W gives you move speed, right? Your W gives you move speed. In this position, you spot Mordekaiser right now. He missed his E, and you are Wing for no reason, right? Right now you W'd nothing, so that's a mistake in this all-in. Right now you're level 11 against 10. The mistake he did is that he ulted you right away, and then you have an easy choice, but you don't have Rumble ultimate, so that's why he's going for you. In other cases, I guess, you know, it's a good ult. Scratch what I said about his ult. He ulted. Okay, it's good for him. He wants to all-in you. Level 10 to 11. Your W, you're in a habit to spam press W. You need to really stop this. A habit of spam pressing your spells, you need to consider your heat a lot more. When he uses E already, your W should only be used to block Q damage to block E. And keep in mind, when you are in the realm with Mordekaiser, well, you know, we can't see it, but the end of it is right here, you can juke through him. Juke through him. Don't put yourself in a corner and just stand there. I see it so often with people. People do it so often where they are just sitting and waiting in a corner as if that's the best course of action. You need to have space, especially when you're a melee champion. So don't put yourself in a corner, because right now it's easy. Like you're easy to punch for this guy. He doesn't give a shit about you. So think about that. His GP with the Moby Woods is rushing in. But nevertheless, on this side of the map, you guys are losing 2v2. Like Kindred is just plain useless. Ideally, what you want to do here is you want to fight as much as possible with Vayne and Leona. The moment you push this wave, the right decision for you on a macro level is to just walk into mid lane right away and try to defend here, because you don't want to pressure here. You don't want to 1v1 against Mordekaiser. You want to make sure that your team, you fight with your team. GP TPs, and here you're taking an aggressive path on river and Mordekaiser. It's kind of random that he's here, honestly. It is kind of random. But you can get away, right? You can get away, so there's no problem. It's just Kindred that's running it down. Kindred is running it down. So your decision was not bad. Just Kindred is just straight up inting. And you just run. You just let him go. He's dead. He's a clown. Okay. Top tower is down. After this game. I don't know. This will maybe take another 15 to 20 minutes, I don't know. I go to side lanes a lot when I see my team is wasting farm. Should I let some go to waste to be with Leona and Vayne, for example, to make plays? Well, sometimes you have to judge the state of the game, right? Especially when you're playing a champion like Rumble. It's not like you're going to have some monster scaling and you're not going to be some monster. You're not playing Rise. So your mindset should be, if the other side of the map is snowballing faster than you and accomplishing more than you, then maybe it's good to give up those CS, especially in lower rankings. In lower rankings, people don't know how to make the correct macro decisions, and putting yourself in a position where you outnumber as often as possible is a very good mindset to have. Alright, so basically the question is, the last wave that you took on bottom, on the highest level it is the correct decision, but maybe if you are doing these plays where you're coming through lane and you're hovering behind your bot lane, maybe you'll end up winning more games. It definitely could work, right? Definitely could work, especially with a champion like Rumble. You're not gonna scale that well. Okay, so this wave is already pretty bad. And most of the time in this position in competitive play, what you want to do is you go with rumble through mid here, because it's already a big danger for you to step past the river. So here, past the river, you're going to be in danger because you have no river control. So Rek'Sai, for all you know, could be here, and if Mord is here, you cannot walk up and do this wave. So right now you're gambling. Okay, that's fine. You spotted Rek'Sai here on the bush potentially. I'm not sure. Most of the time here, what other people would do is they walk mid lane together with the creeps that are coming, and then you would be here right now, and maybe you can contest the mid wave. Because Rumble, you have very good interaction with Kog'Maw Janna. Always in the game, you need to look at what champions do you actually counter within the game. Not necessarily only in lane phase, but also your interaction with other champions. So maybe the win condition here is to keep burning the Kog'Maw and Janna that are under in the mid tower. So here a move could be that you, instead of going top to take a risk, you could be here on the mid wave, and then together you can look to force on these kids with Leona ult and Vayne and so forth. Leona has no ult. Okay, you got to push the top tower, top wave. You didn't get punished. That's completely fine too. If you you just need to consider all the options. When you are pushing past the river and Kog'Maw and Janna are getting prio against Vayne Leona, it means that you might be taking a risk. But the risks don't necessarily mean that you die. If you get to push the wave and then walk into mid lane, that means it paid off. So let's take a look at this mid lane all in. Okay, Vayne, Kog'Maw walking away, no problem. Good hover into mid lane afterwards. Now with you pushing the wave and this being in this position, and you guys controlling river after you hovered is very good. Here it looks like you consider taking this wave. I don't think you need to. I think your team should have stayed around and should have frankly just engaged on the Mordekaiser the moment he was face checking, because he's being a maniac. The Rumble ult lands. You're gonna kill him. Keep in mind the overheat. You know, you want your overheat punches to be like the final blow, right? Because the cooldown of your Q is very small. 6 seconds. 6 seconds with a 3 seconds uptime. So you can always do it. Here you almost die because of this mistake. So your heat control definitely needs to improve. Definitely needs to improve. The main idea is that most of the time you want to overheat using your Q. Basically you Q, you do your full combo, you judge the situation. This is why most of the time we don't buy CDR on Rumble, because you're not gated by your cooldowns, you're gated by your heat. You want to go into overheat using your Q most of the time, you need to always be very mindful of how you use your heat. This is the major issue for you this game, because here you should have dived, you could have kept flash. This was a kill for you. And also always consider you started off with Rumble ult against Mordekaiser. If he ults a target earlier there, maybe he can get away with more, and then your Rumble ult is not going to be so useful. Here you bought a needlessly large rod. Look to complete Liandry's as soon as possible, because it's a huge damage boost for you, especially that has a lot of slows naturally in your build. Right now you have a needlessly large rod, and it's needlessly there, if you know what I mean. I don't think it could have been any more clear. Okay, let's continue. Even if I have 1300 gold on my back, well, you can also buy Amplifying Tome and a Blasting Wand, and you will have the same amount of AP numbers, right? If you upgrade to Liandry and Amplifying Tome, like Blasting Wand and Amplifying Tome is the same as Needlessly Large Rod in terms of AP. So you are not losing out. Needlessly Large Rod is not that gold efficient as a standalone item. There is nothing to celebrate when you're buying a needlessly large rod. Especially as it is, you know, sure, most of the time I would go Deathcap third. I think finishing Liandry and going for that Amplifying Tome is better. Liandry is huge this game. You have GP already, HP in his itemization. Every Rek'Sai is going to go Black Cleaver, and Mordekaiser also has a lot of HP. And also Zhonya's Hourglass is not a bad buy in this game. Zhonya's Hourglass is quite a decent buy. Okay. So you're grouping around, it's cool. Top wave is in a... this is fine. You guys are pressuring tower, you're pressuring the right space. Baron is not on anyone's radar right now, even though potentially with Kog'Maw the enemy team could pressure it. Because right now, if they didn't follow you and they kept Mordekaiser in bottom together with Darius, this would be a prime time position for them to pressure Nash and make you guys face check into them. And then the moment you face check into them, Rumble GP ult and so forth. Because you guys are committing here quite recklessly and the enemy is following for no reason. I tend to go full offense items to try and carry when I feel I can avoid dying easily. Yeah, for sure. Death Cap, I would go Death Cap, Liandry, Oblivion War. It's a good build. No problem at all. I have no issues there. It's just about, you know, always consider the finishing of Liandry. You know, it's 750 gold and you get so much. And even though you have 1300 gold, maybe you just end up being better off doing so, you know? So the enemy team don't know how to respond to this. Mordekaiser should be bottom, he has the TP, and they should be threatening Nashor, because they do it quite fast with Kog'Maw. And Janna can keep everyone healthy, and then maybe you guys are committing all the way, and maybe they'll find something. And of course they need to pay attention if you guys are coming back, maybe Rumble ult is going to kill you all, you know? Rumble ult's gonna kill you all. So Kog'Maw is trolling. Kog'Maw is really walking up too far. And Janna itemization is also quite bad because she needs to have Mikael already. That's the whole point. Kog'Maw didn't go cleanse. If you don't go cleanse, rush Mikael to save the Kog'Maw as a good engage. This is something that you can also look to do because Kog'Maw has no flash. You can just look to engage, Rumble ult behind them, and it's a free kill every time. That's why the enemy can't walk up now. You guys also have quite the Nash team when this is something you can also consider is always judge the power of your team in terms of doing Nash, because shot calling to do Nash is something that's very effective in solo queue. A lot of teams don't know how to react to it. It's in solo queue, most of the time it's easier to do a Nash than to defend a Nash, I've noticed, you know? Okay. So now the wave is even. I like that you leave it like this. You have no purpose in pushing this further. You can also look to recall here and get your freaking Liandrys at some point in this game, because it's such a big power spike for you that you need to put more emphasis on it. Liandrys is quite crazy. Here you're walking up. Darius is in the bot lane. He has a decent TP ward right here, but he's going for here. So here is, well, this is quite suicidal. Rumble is not in range. Okay, it worked, but wasn't great. It wasn't great. Needed to wait for you to be in range of vicinity and then to connect. Where is the GP ult? Where is the GP ult? Oh, it's the Rift Herald, it wasn't the GP ult. Okay, so now a bit too much Aram, but I guess it was for the Rift. But usually using Rift right on top of where the enemy all are, it's not that great, but it was running out, that's why we were using it. Ideally, if Rift Herald doesn't run out, what you want to do is get mid-prio, step into here, and then use it on an outer tower. Usually the sequence of how and which turrets you want to take is always outer tower, mid-tower, outer tower, mid-tower. And the reason why you do so is, the moment this tower breaks, and you push all the way here, the rotation through here into mid lane does not exist. From here, rotating into mid is too easy. From here, rotating into mid is too easy. Okay. We continue. Alright, Rift Herald. Fine barbecue. We can smell the taste of flesh, but I think the enemy team didn't need to give up as hard as they did. They ran away, and I don't think it's necessary. Because right now, like they are fine after the Rumble ult. They need to be like, this was their time to engage. Are the second top and bottom towers always more important? Not more important, Mid turrets are more important, mid turrets are the most valuable ones, but bottom and top are easier to kill. They are easier to kill, and killing them makes it easier to kill mid lane. Always, if you can take a mid tower, over an outer tower, mid tower is always better. If you can take this tower over an outer tower, it's always better. But the rule changes when it comes to inhibitor turrets. When it comes to inhibitor turrets, the outer turrets are much more valuable because of the nature of how the game transitions into mid to late game. It is very mid lane centric, and having super creeps around mid lane doesn't matter too much. Super creeps are much more impactful on side lane. Right? So always mid tower more important. These two more important than the respective turrets on side. Inhibitor turret, outside turrets are more important. Outer turrets are more important. So right now I don't know what's happening. There's 3 people clearing bot wave, and Rek'Sai is inting. So this is a very good time for you guys to force Nash. If this guy dies, he should have died. This is, someone should have just kept spells to cancel the Rek'Sai E. He should be dead 100%. Like this is kind of ridiculous that he survives. How does he survive? Jesus. Darius cancels 15 autos. I don't know. If he dies there, free Nash. Still, Rek'Sai is very low HP. Good time to pressure Nash. Here, this needs to be cleared, and then maybe you can pressure Nash. You can find this, an entry here. Okay, let's see how this goes. You recalled. Let's see why you recalled. Oh, you finally got your Liandry. That's crazy that it hasn't happened yet. So I think for the longest time ever, especially after this, you just need to find the time to base. Tell your team you want to base. You get this fucking Liandry going for yourself. Because even now, it's a good time to base now. It's a good time to base now. This is gonna bounce. This is gonna bounce. Mid wave is dead. Good time to base. You go for the Rek'Sai trap, 3 people bottom, okay. If the enemy is trolling, then you don't need base, right? Now you get your Liandry, and now your team is starting Nash, and it's not so great to start Nash, because you want to base for Liandry. So this is troll. Now, because of this turret being dead, ideally what you want to do is you want to push and then follow your creeps all the way, let them lead you all the way to this turret and then push them out. No, it's good to base for you. Just ping them back. Ping them back, tell them it's bad. It's all good. Here, ideally, what you want to do is you want to push together. You don't have TPs, like you have Rumble TP, but I think Morde can deal with you on side. You can easily now push all the way, push here into this space, push them, make them show here, and then step into here and push them out. Because right now, most teams are gonna sit in this jungle, and the worst fight you can possibly get is if you face check them into no vision, into their space with vision, from their perspective. So what you want to do, obviously, is you want to push all the way, step into here, and then like when you're pushing all the way, you are denying them this space because you're forcing them to show up here. If Kog'Maw is clearing the wave alone, just fucking commit on him, engage on him, kill him. He can't clear this alone. Yeah, they have to rotate. Everyone from this jungle needs to go here to defend. If they are not reacting, you dive the guy who's alone, you kill him, and then you walk into here. Alright? When they react, when they rotate into here, take the bad rotation into here to defend, you step into here and take control. Because right now Rek'Sai and Janna, they've been sitting in this jungle constantly. We get mid prio, but we're just funneling creeps into them. Right now Kog'Maw has been sitting mid for the last 5 minutes, eating creeps over and over. So once again here, Rek'Sai still has easy back access here. He can enter, no problem. Creeps are getting killed. Here, they are walking up too far. Everyone needs to be in position to engage and force because we are stronger. We have Rumble ult, Leona ult, 2 items finish on Darius. It's very, very nice, very good. But it doesn't happen. You are preparing for Drake. That's fine too. Enemy is really, it's summertime barbecuing. Very nice Rumble ult. We like it. Let's take a look at the rest. So Leona is walking up too far. She's trolling. She needs to sit in this bush. I don't know what she's doing. So this is bad. Leona's trolling. She's practically dead before the fight has started. Good flash from GP dodging Leona ult after eating fruit. Okay, Leona died. Very good Rumble ult though. Janna is healing everyone. Against Janna is one of the few champions with finishing Morello is honestly quite good. So after Mordekaiser killed Leona, he just ran it down. Here you guys have no tools, and if you play it slower, then it will be better for them. Everyone's just standing in this Rumble ult. GP is so low. Your Rumble ult saved this fight, honestly. It's a very good Rumble ult. And then Mordekaiser just ran it down, honestly. And then the Kog'Maw is monster fed. What a party. Okay. Let's check the next one. Let's pay attention to our boy Rumble. This was very risky. But at the same time, Kindred is level 15 to level 11 Rek'Sai. This Rek'Sai has not been clearing any jungle, and Kindred is 200 CS. Okay. Let's take a look at next. What goes wrong here? How can anything possibly go wrong here? You guys are so monster strong. Vayne is kind of trolling her itemization, getting mid-send at this point in the game. It's pretty bad. Okay, so Leona gets ulted by Mordekaiser. And Redemption is going to start to hurt you. What elo is this? This is Plat 2. This is good because you didn't Rumble ult. That's a very, very good sign. Kog'Maw has no flash. So that's your target. Okay, I think you could have held on to your Rumble ult a bit longer. But Mordekaiser is playing this smart, you know. He's denying the Leona, and that's the only way for you guys to kill Kog'Maw. And Vayne is weaker than Kog'Maw right now. And Kindred is not so useful. And when you guys don't have Leona or Rumble ult, you guys have really no way of engaging or doing anything, honestly. So I wonder if this is the point in the game where you guys are just outscaled. Rough, very rough. Yeah, I think you guys have just outscaled at this point. Maybe Leona needs to buy QSS. Maybe that's the solution. Maybe that's the solution. Because now, honestly, Redemption just counters your ult. I think probably you need to finish Morello in a game like this against Janna. She just heals too much. Oh, very nice barbecue. Your barbecues are on point, man. If you fix up your heat and your lane phase and how you play, You will have a lot of success. Your barbecues are crazy, man. Your barbecues are really, really good. I have very little complaints about your barbecues. If you invite me to a barbecue, I'm in, dude. Just don't burn me, man. So it's a good barbecue. Kog'Maw is not playing on the same page as his team, so obviously he's trolling. Everyone, if they want to contest this, they need to make an effort where they go in together. Okay, very nice. You saved this game with your Rumble ult. Okay, 36. Okay, we continue. Let's take a look at this fight. Diana probably should buy QSS to just deny Mordekaiser. And then this game would have been a lot easier. You can punish, your team could have punished the fact that Janna didn't buy an item to save Kog, and Kog'Maw wasn't the best player on the planet. Yeah, just a common mistake. Well, how did you die? Rabbit, are you on EU West? Okay. We will take your game next. I just need to take a small break. Okay, so this is lagging horribly now. Nevertheless, the game is over. So, Louvre 92. Do you have any questions? If you have any questions, go. If you want to take them in voice, we can do that too. You can either write them in chat or we can take it in voice. Okay. If you have no more questions, I will summarize. I feel like hit it on the head with the heat management. Yeah, for sure. Just think about your heat management. Always just overheat as a finisher, you know? As a finisher. Think of it as your finisher. Maybe you could tell me something more about that. I think a general thumb rule is, you know, just pay attention to your heat. Keep in mind that E only costs 10 heat, which is a massive buff to Rumble. It was one of the biggest Rumble buffs that has ever happened. The fact that E only takes 10, which is a big deal. And you can always hover around that 90 range, and then keep in mind when you're at 90, you can break heat with additional 20 points. So in theory, you can go to 110. So ideally, what you want to do is you want to go into 90, press when you're at 80, you press E, and then you overheat with Q. You always want to overheat with Q. Don't overheat with W. If you overheat with W, you're just a noise machine. You know, like we're hearing right now in our ears. You're just a noise machine. It's not that great. You want to overheat with Q, and then when you put yourself to 90 and then overheat with Q, you can E again. Because the nature of the E spell is still sticking around as if it has 2 stacks. So you can still use it when you're overheating, which is quite overpowered. That's what makes Rumble so strong. Another thing to highlight is the way you're laning, keep in mind the enemy spell cooldowns. It's something that's very simple, but when they are using their spells on the wave to push, make sure you punish. The same way when you're using your spells on the wave, the enemy will look to punish, right? Also, there were timings here when you got level 2 first. This is something that you can push more heavily for. Sometimes it's okay to take a Mordekaiser Q in the head to push. You are trading your HP for something valuable. Sometimes I felt like you were a bit too afraid in lane. You need to make use of your Doran shield. Make use of your resources. Make use of your resources to gain something out of it. Whether you're using your HP to push, you're using your HP to CS, whether you're using your HP to get a level advantage. Either way, you need to think of your HP as a resource and your cooldowns as a resource. And also, of course, your summoner spells, right? The enemy is going to think the same way. The moment he Qs the wave, he's in danger. He has no spell. You can chunk him. But the trade-off is that he sacrifices his HP for the push. But in the case of Rumble, most of the time you can do both. That's what makes Rumble so powerful in lane, is that you can trade without taking minion aggro and you can push at the same time, right? I really like what you said about me not pushing my lead enough as well with my purchases. Maybe something more on that. So the only thing I was worried about was when you bought your item, basically you bought Oblivion Orb. Here, in this particular matchup, what you can consider is you can buy boots because it makes a huge difference against Mordekaiser. The nature of the matchup is if you dodge his E, you win, right? If you dodge his E, you win. With this in mind, what is going to help you dodge E? Move speed. So you buy move speed, naturally. The same way he is understanding of the situation is he buys boots. Most obviously in this case he couldn't buy anything else because he's poor. But buying boots for him is also something that makes a lot of sense. Rushing Mercury, because he is very reliant on mobility. The same way you're going to be, when the enemy is reliant on mobility, buying more mobility on your end is going to be crazy too. So there could be other matchups that this is helpful in. For example, rushing Sorcerer Shoes against an Ornn is not that great because the spell penetration statistic is not going to be so good into his Negatron Cloak, right? So against Ornn, you want to finish Liandry as fast as possible because he, of course, has big HP numbers and you want to break down that specifically, right? You want to break him down. So Liandry is a fantastic purchase. In your case here, Needlessly Large Road instead of finishing Liandry, you know, it's okay. It's not the end of days because you wanted to buy Deathcap third, but you are significantly weaker than finishing Liandry and buying an Amp Tome than finishing Liandry, buying Needlessly Large Road. This is the trade-off, right? You're going to have an easier path to Deathcap maybe later down the line, but at the cost of power. And I think with a champion like Rumble, considering you are a champion that needs to gain a lead, snowball, and keep snowballing, it's important to be as impactful as possible at the time, right? So this is very important. Your itemization changes depending on matchup. It's the same when people play top lane, right? There are some matchups where Aatrox just needs Black Cleaver. So sometimes, just to make sure, it's okay in lower elo to make incorrect macro plays to let some side waves go when I have good synergy to make plays on another side of the map. Most of the time these plays are going to have... the reason why it makes... So we have to explain why it works more often in lower elo is because most of the time people don't expect it. Outnumbering is something very powerful because people in lower elo games are very prone to take fights at all costs, right? People like to take fights, right? People like to take fights. We can go Discord. Okay, can you join a random channel? Can you go into the Discord? A random channel. Go into a random channel and I'll pull you into a different channel. Let me just finish this up, Alana. Rabbit? Sure, we can do it tomorrow. I tried joining earlier and the link has expired. The link in the description below has expired still. Let's do it tomorrow, Rabbit. That's fine. Today I'm so unlucky. What's wrong, Mimo? While you fix your microphone up, I'm gonna check something. Alright guys, we continue. Sorry for the small interruption. We're going to continue now with Louvre in voice. How you doing, Louvre? Are you here?
Hey, Mato. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very loud and clear. What are some of your
Great.
questions? I know we
Yeah, I
answered
have four
some.
questions.
4 questions,
Yeah,
okay. Shoot.
all right. So when it comes to shot calling, sometimes I notice that in my games I end up I want to do some shot calling, but if it's not very simple, then it costs me a lot of energy in the game, and I kind of lose the focus on my own improvement. So, do you think that there's a balance to be struck between that? Because I kind of feel like sometimes maybe I should just focus on my own game and try to learn rather than teach other people.
I think definitely there's a balance you need to find, but just like everything else, shot calling also takes practice, right? Usually, when people, in general, when something is exhausting and something takes a lot of effort, it usually comes from not doing it often enough. Similar as the more and more you play Rumble, the more easier it will be for you to do good barbecues, right? The same way, the more and more you try to shot call, the easier it will become, and you'll find that balance. So I suggest you just to keep trying, and then eventually you'll get a good feel for it yourself. It's difficult for me to give you direct advice. The best advice I can give you on this is just to try, and as you said yourself, that eventually you'll find your own balance. The more and more you can concentrate on your own game and direct others, the better it is. But you can also combine the two. For example, let's say you want to, like in this particular game that you showed me, you're playing Rumble. You have a very good interaction against Jana and Kog'Maw that they don't have any way to escape. Where if they are in your Rumble carpet, they are in trouble, right? So from that
Yeah.
perspective, you can shot call from what you want to accomplish, right? You can say, okay, guys, we can just walk down mid lane. We can look to engage with Leona, and this integrates both, right?
Yeah, I understand. So the better you get at it, you can say it in less words, and it costs you less effort.
Pretty much, it's like go
Also,
mid, engage. I have Rumble ult, you know.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Cheers. Then there were some points in the last game where I was crashing the wave, and I think you were saying like, yeah, you're just using your Q on the wave, you're not doing anything with it. Sometimes I feel I do that to get lane prio, but I guess I need a good reason to shove the wave, right? That's what you mean.
So, for example, if you're in a hurry, then it's fine. If you using your Q on the wave is it's for a concrete reason, you have to move into bottom, you're pushing or something, then it's fine. But in the particular case that I pointed out when you killed the Rek'Sai, so I have it up on the stream right now. In that particular
Nice.
case, you walking up and queuing the wave and using your spells on the wave didn't impact your situation. So on the situation I'm showing on the stream right now, you already have the prio, so you can look to pressure the Mordekaiser instead. You can look to walk up on him. He used Q once again. You use Q here for no reason. You already have the prio.
Okay, and it doesn't have any added benefit if I kill the minions and he has to basically deal with them before, or he doesn't and he loses them perhaps because that was my intention.
Because in this case, my thought process here when I'm looking at this particular situation. So it's very
Yeah.
hard to make like a rule for it because situations change, right? You have to gain experience. In this particular situation, I just see Mordekai's using Q on the wave, and you start to use Q. You already have the push. You can start to zone him. You can walk around. You can be in this space
Yeah.
where I'm highlighting. Right here, you can stand and you can start queuing him and you can play with him, right? You can lower his HP and at the same time
Yeah.
take over the space, right? Because in the end, having priority
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
controlling space. That's what priority is. The same way when I told you when you have prio, you have to take the aggressive path.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I definitely see your point that I had to walk up more aggressively there and take up the available.
So in this particular case, just because you are playing, your kindred is in the enemy jungle, the space that you want to be first in is, of course, this, right? What I'm showing here. This is the space that you
Yeah.
want to control, right here. This is the best path into kindred, and this fight is happening here. So if you can go first here, you've won the prio, regardless of what the wave position is, right?
Yeah.
So here, the moment he Qs, you can already step up here, right? You can walk up further and you can potentially harass him with E, you can keep on range, you can use your Comet, you can use your Scorch, right?
Yeah.
That's why this is a particular situation where I'm like, you're using your spells on the wave, but you already have the priority. He used Q. In a case where he doesn't Q, then I would say that you should Q the wave and push. In a case where he doesn't, you can get more out of your Q, you know? You can get so much more.
All right, I understand. Thanks.
So ideally, it's like there was also a later situation after you kill Mordekaiser, where once again your management, or the further and longer I have the replay on, the worse it gets. So this is a very good example of you having a lot of pressure at this point in time. You overheated because you used your E. You remember this situation I'm showing on stream?
Yeah, yeah.
So here ideally is he needs to push the wave. He needs to use spells and you want to maintain the freeze. So you can get so much more value out of your Q than he does out of his Q, because you know the purpose of what he wants to do. The wave is freezing, he wants to push in the wave to make sure that he can't get ganked, because this lane position is horrible. He can't all in you, he can only get poked. He wants to get out as soon as possible. The way you can pressure him is to get more value out of your Q. You can Q him, you can Q the wave at the same time. He's going to look to Q the wave, you punish, you harass, and you maintain the freeze, right? Another situation where you can get more out of your spells. You just have to think about, your spells is a resource and you are trying to get as much as possible out of your spells.
Okay, and I understand. And in this situation, do you think it's a good idea to try and bait his Q onto me so that he can't, so that he's even pushing the wave even less, and then block it with my W?
For sure.
Kind of invite.
For sure.
Okay.
That's good, yes. I don't think, like, if you are heating, I think he barely breaks your W. Maybe overkills it like 30, 40, 50, something like this. I don't know the exact number. If you are isolated, he does more damage, right? So if you share that damage together with the creep, it's also less, and you can definitely bait it, and you can do good trades. Because early on, you need to get an advantage with Rumble, and then later, Mordekaiser will win 1v1.
Yeah. Okay. Then when do you think I should start playing other champions? Because I told you what I said before about, that I heard about one trick in one. You said it's a good idea. I'm happy to hear that. When is the point that you start learning other champions and even other roles? Because I feel I can't jungle at all, but I feel I would learn so much from jungling.
So it's like jungle is it helps a lot to understand jungle and to jungle yourself. Oh my goodness. I will address you soon, Kuchi. Give me a moment. What's it called? What were you saying? Can you just repeat your question? I just got completely... You talked about jungle and learning another role and another champion. Okay. So the thing is, let's say jungle, maybe 30%, 20% of jungle information is going to be useful for you laning. You how to clear camps, your clear speeds, your item choices, your item paths, your ganking paths for other lanes. This is information that is not going to be so useful for you playing Rumble in top lane, for example, or mid lane, right? So there's a lot of small aspects of jungle that don't necessarily impact what you want to do. It might make you into a better overall player, but if you're playing and focusing on a specific role, it's not that useful, right?
Okay.
And I think sometimes if you try to grasp too many lanes at once and so forth, you're casting too wide of a net. If you feel like you want to learn jungle, sure, but I think it can be helpful, but not as helpful as it might seem. There are some aspects of jungle that are important to every single lane and role. Jungle timings, how often they can gank, what it means to farm, what it means to farm less, the patterns of how a jungler snowballs, especially in Season 10 when everything changes, right? It's very clear when junglers, if they waste time, they fall behind and they never recover, right? So this is something that's very important to notice. But I believe that the interactions you had with Rek'Sai in this particular game are enough things to take away from, you know? So basically, if you're sitting down and you would review a game by yourself, what I would do is, you have to pay attention to how the jungler interacts with your lane, because this is something that I did in the review as well. I paid attention to the Rek'Sai. He died twice. He died level 1, which was silly. Then he died again because he started blue, took Wolves and Gromp, which was very, very bad. This is something you don't want to do on Rek'Sai. Gave Kindred priority, and you guys contested round, you won. Then afterwards, Rek'Sai was kind of hovering around Mordekaiser. It was good of them because 2v2, it looks like they would win. So they played as if they were duo queue or something. So ideally, when you are reviewing your own games, you should review the enemy jungle and your own jungler, and look at how they can impact you specifically, not other things,
Yeah, okay, makes sense. And I'm happy to hear it because I didn't really want to jungle.
Yeah. I think it's sure it can be nutritious, but it's like maybe 30-40% is transferable, and I think that you can use your time better.
All right, okay, well said. Thanks. Yeah, this is maybe kind of not really a gameplay question. This is just for my own curiosity.
Okay.
What kind of time frame do you think is decent for someone to go from diamond to masters in terms of their likelihood to hit challenger? Because I'm just thinking about I want to hit challenger, and I just want to kind of have some sort of frame of comparison. Like, is there anything you can say about that? Or
honestly, I think you said you've been consistently around diamond 3, something like that, right?
well, I started playing a month ago, and I started at platinum 3.
Okay. And what point in time were you diamond 3?
Well, what I meant is, what I meant is that when I look at op.gg, that the people that I'm playing with were.
So your matchmaking is around diamond 3. In this game as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, this is diamond 3 matchmaking, yeah.
Holy shit, okay. Well, some of the moves that we saw were crazy.
From me?
Well, your rumbles were really good, honestly. Really, really good.
Oh, thanks, man. That's so good to hear that from you. That really makes me feel.
Oh, so like you saved the game after the game was in a terrible spot and Mordekaiser started to ult Leona. Like the only thing that is worth considering, while Morello is a big no-no, like Alice says, big no-no at Morello, there's some cases where it's valuable. Like in this case, the biggest issue of Rumble in the past was that the support items were too powerful. Like there was a time in the meta where Solari and Redemption were just the most OP items in the game, right? And in this case, if Janna gets Redemption second, which she did, and she heals, that she can actually kind of make her team survive your ult, right? And in those cases, it's worth to consider even getting Morello.
So it's a really big edge case to get Morello's.
Yeah. So just when healing becomes really big, and to answer your question in regards to time frame, platinum to master, I've seen players. I've seen players do it within 2 weeks, but usually the bigger question is, how do they get there? Sometimes there are players that just figure out, okay, Nunu's really OP right now, I'm playing Nunu, and that's it. They just play Nunu gets nerfed, and then they just drop again. The main thing is about developing your thought process that will last, and I think it will be so much better for you. So the speed isn't necessarily that important, because usually when some things click and you have a little bit of luck, then you fly through the ranks, right? Because regardless of how good you are, some sense of luck matters. We can see even now Jensen and Bjergsen, they have a very, very low win ratio. That doesn't make them bad players. It's just, some of the games they just don't decide them, right? And that's something that we have to accept. So with a little bit of luck and the right things, right information clicking for you, then everything is going to be better. Even now, I expect you to, after just taking the simple notion that you need to control your heat better, understanding that your spells are a resource that you have to expend in the best way possible, and always take a look at, I used my Q here, was it correct? Okay, good. Was it bad? Could I do it better? Fine. And did he use his spells in a way that I could punish? This is always what you need to look out for when you review your own lane phase, because this is the most powerful part of Rumble, is you use your spells, you don't get minion aggro. It's absurdly OP, right? Really, really OP for lane. So you need to always fine tune it and become as oppressive as possible. So in regards to time frame, don't worry about time frame. Just make sure that the right things click, and eventually you'll get there. With a bit of luck, with the right pieces of information, you will eventually get there. The same way all the pro players like Bersen and Jensen, we're not expecting them to be stuck in Diamond 4 for the rest of the season. They will eventually get there. The luck will be nullified, right? The element of luck will be gone, and eventually skill is what shines through, and that is what brings you consistency and brings you to the higher ranks. So in terms of time frame, I've seen everything. I've seen people work across multiple years. Usually, like if you were sitting here and you're telling me, like if you were silver, if you were bronze, I would say, you know, you have a very long way to go. But even with those players, if the right things click, the right piece of information clicks, then you will begin to use it in your own way and then develop and branch out from there. You know, it happened to me as well. I've been playing chess on and off, and at one point in time, I realized that, you know, in competitive play at the highest level, they are pushing a single pawn advantage to a victory. So most of the time, if someone is up a pawn, that means that the other guy is completely losing, unless he gained like significant like position advantage over sacrificing this pawn, right? So sacrificing a resource to get something else. And I realized the piece of information that helped me, a simple line was, whenever you get a freaking advantage, try to use it. Meaning that you have a one pawn advantage, you try to trade down to an endgame, and then you just push your pawn, defend your pawn, and then you win games like this. And all of a sudden, I climbed 200, 300 rating with this simple piece of information that I applied to my games, right?
Yeah, I feel that's the heat management in my case. I really feel that it's so spot on and important.
For sure. Like you have a habit of pressing W to Q
Yeah, I know.
to E. You know, you just need to pay attention to your heat bar and really abuse the fact that they changed the E to only remove 10. Get yourself to 80 with your shield, and then E 90. Break your heat with Q, and then you can E again while you're overheating, and then you don't feel like a potato running around with your W just punching. You know. Think of your overheating as your finishing move, you know? You do a combo, the first combo brings you to 60 heat, right? The next combo can bring you to around 80 heat if you take it slow, you wait a little bit, especially around level 9 when you have Q cooldown, and then the next combo can reach 90 with your first E, and then you break heat with Q, you overheat, you run on the 10, and then you can E again and you can all in, right? So this is the habit that you want to be in. And most of the time in a matchup like Rumble against Morde, there are cases where you don't want to all in, right? And most of the time you want to poke. So it's better to stay relatively close to the overheat and never overheating. Right?
All right. Perfect.
Anything else, Louvre? 92.
Well, I was just wondering how the advice of one second, how do I say it? One tricking a champion, because you said that you can one trick Nunu and then it gets nerfed and you fall off completely. So how does that fit in with the advice of one tricking a champion to learn general game concepts? Because is what I'm doing, is it still the right way? Because it kind of made me feel what you said about the one trick Nunu situation, that if Rumble gets nerfed.
So my example was in the frame of Nunu being OP. So there was I used this example, but because there was a guy who reached rank 1 by only playing Nunu and Janna, which is good, right? It's a wise way, it's a good way. But the moment Nunu got nerfed, sorry, my doorbell is ringing. I just need to open the door.
That's okay.
All right, I'm back. So we were talking about the Nuno case. So the reason why I highlighted it was because this was a scenario where Nuno was really, really hidden OP, right? And he was just ahead
Yeah.
of the curve. He figured out something, not in the sense
Yeah, yeah,
of becoming a one trick and, figuring out the game from there. He just abused something that was OP and people didn't realize, right? So sure,
yeah.
probably he improved and got better because he played against better players and needed to figure out ways to win games. But there's a difference between just abusing something that is OP, right?
Yeah.
And
And
even now, we discussed so many things. Like half of the review was me talking about interactions with Mordekaiser. So hopefully you
yeah,
learn something new about Mordekaiser, right? You learn something new about Kog'Maw and Janna as well, that they have a weakness against Rumble. And all of these
yeah,
interactions, they matter, right? All of them matter.
yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of information.
A lot of information, sure. That's why, like, it will be a vote, it will be on YouTube. I'm not expecting you to, no one should be expected to, like, take everything in and then just move on to the next one. Take it piece per piece,
Yeah.
revisit it, no problem. If anything is confusing in the future, you can even write to me, it's no problem. You can join the stream, you
Oh,
can write
that's
to me.
great.
This is okay. I want to,
Yeah.
I like helping people. This is fun for me.
Yeah, well, this is the, yeah. You gave me a great gift. Like I wasn't expecting to have this today, but you helped me so much. And like the vault, I'm gonna go over it so many times. Like 100%. So yeah, just thank you so much for this. And
That's
if I
cool,
have a
that's cool.
barbecue this summer, I'll let you know.
Fantastic, fantastic. Do I have to drive to Holland or is it Belgium? Holland?
Yeah, it's Holland. It's
It's
Holland.
Holland.
Yeah.
I just had to guess based on the accent. Okay, Lur. I wish you the best of luck, yeah? Thank you so much for
Yeah,
sending me
you
the
too, man.
replay
Thank
and
you.
thank you for subbing, yeah? All the best to you. Bye bye.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Cheers. All right. That summarizes it. If you're interested in being a part of this, you can just join the sub squad. We are continuing soon with our boy Ribbit. And then we'll continue. What do you mean he asked? What are you guys saying in chat? Nevertheless, that's the end of the vote.